I am really excited because artist trading cards, I've loved them because they're small, first of all, and creating something small is less intimidating than doing a large painting and or a piece of art or craft. And what's wonderful about artist trading cards, and there's another form, and somebody might be able to write it in the comments. Tell me there is the artist trading card that is meant to be traded only, right? And then there's another card that people give, sell, whatever they do. They put like, it's a little different. There's a word, there's a term for it, and I don't, for some reason, it just left my head. But if you can write it down, because I like to do artist trading cards for trades, but then I also like to make these cards. And that's why I don't always back my artist trading cards until I know what I'm going to do with them. Because if I, let's say, want to take one of these cards and give it to somebody, a stranger, or, when I'm at the doctor's office, which I've been going to a lot lately, um, then I can just give this to the receptionist or the person working there, or somebody that just looks like they need a little uplift. And there's a word for those, and if
Would
somebody
it
could
be a
tell.
calling card Elke was suggesting?
No, it's like someone said affirmation cards, but hi Kathy. Oh, June's here. All these people, Elka. No, it's not a calling card. It is another word, but if somebody Googled it, it's the basically the same format, 2.5 by 3.5 inches, and that's in inches, and I don't know the centimeters. I can look it up. Um, the same size, and then you could put some other like maybe a note or quotes or something like that. Anyway, I don't want to digress because we've got lots of stuff going on. But if we find out ACEO artist cards for sale, I like that. Kindness cards, whatever they're just really perfect. The size is great. Now, the reason it's great, they are the same size as a baseball card, the commercial cards for baseball and trading cards. So that's why these are this size. And the history is in 1997. I believe oh boy, somewhere. I believe it's Switzerland. I don't remember the artist, but he kind of came up with this artist trading card idea, and they traded them in person. Now, with it being online and doing it internationally, it's so incredibly fun because you can get art from all over the world, and it's small. You can, the trading is going to be easy, and we'll talk about that later, but I just want to give you some ideas for making cards. Really anything goes, right? So I'm going to tell you about this real quick. These little sleeves, they're 2 6/8 by 3 5/8. They came in a pack of 100. Yeah, I got them off Amazon, but they're just little thin plastic sleeves that are great if you have an artist trading card that has stuff on it, like little loose pieces of things on it. And it's good to contain it in these plastic sleeves if you want to do that. But I'm going to show you some of what I love about doing this with Yasutomo because this watercolor paper, the watercolor pad, it's 5x7, 300 GSM. This is the hot press, which has it's not that hot pressed. It's got a little texture to it, but it is a perfect artist trading card series making surface. You will get exactly 4 artist trading cards out of one sheet. So basically, when I cut these into quarters, I get 4 cards. So that's really fun if you want to work in a series. And I love that. So if you want to do any of your favorite mediums, if you are a watercolor enthusiast, you can just paint watercolor straight on. You can cut your cards out of the paper. You've got these 4 pieces. And I think Strathmore makes an artist trading card, at least I think they used to. I don't know if they do now, but they used to make an artist trading card watercolor paper. But this is nice because you can make 4 out of one sheet, and that's the Niji watercolor pad. And these are just artist trading cards that I did, simple little watercolor. I just did some very simple watercolors. And then I did some hand lettering, and I'm going to tell you about the pens that I like using. But this is like a very simple, very easy, and this is one of my favorites right here. It's funny, when I first did it, I didn't really like it that much, and then I really think it's appropriate for just life in general, look for the silver lining. Always look for the silver lining, and it has a little metallic, very simple. I just painted a kind of a blue with a cloud shape, leaving a cloud shape, made a little silver with some silver metallic watercolor, made some rain, easy peasy, but it's really effective. And then I put on the back my artist trading card piece of paper, and I haven't filled it out yet, but here's a simple one. Count your rainbows, not your thunderstorms. Very simple little rainbow, very, very simple. And then just hand lettered it over that. Here's a little one that it's a little more complex, but still just watercolor only. I masked it with masking tape and did just a simple wash with some tape beforehand. I put the tape beforehand so I can have place to letter. Because if you know me by now, you know I like quotes and words and everything. Melinda's here. Hi, Melinda, and hi, everyone that's coming in. I see we've got a good group of people. That's awesome. So these are the watercolor ones. They're very simple, and I threw on a little watercolor focal point, Dance in the Rain. Those are my watercolor ones. So if you just want to do watercolor, how fun is that, right? Just simple. And I'm going to show you. So that's one way, okay? And then another way to do this is if you want to do watercolor using this, like this one, I did I forgot when I did it, actually. A couple years ago, probably. And I just, of course, if I remember which way, I don't remember how I had it, but basically I just did some wonky circles into circles with watercolors, one sheet, and then I just cut into quarters. And now I have a series. And what you can do with those is then you can either, that could be the artist trading card all by itself, keeping it simple. I think it's beautiful, right? Just simple, abstract. You could then, if you wanted to put a quote in or not, I just think these are really delightful and I can't wait to use these. I'll tell you, I've got lots of cards to trade when it's time. Another thing that I love is the series, and I think I showed you a couple weeks ago when we
I
did
gotta
our,
interrupt, Karen, because someone had
yeah,
a good question. Where do you get your quotes from?
oh, all over the place. I just Google, I usually Google a quote I'm interested in. Like if I want to do a quote about love, I just Google it. And I used to go to goodreads.com, and for some reason they're just not making it accessible unless you have a membership. But I just Google it and then all kinds of stuff comes up. And I just have to be careful. There's some sites that have weird, I don't know, buggy websites. So I'm just careful about going to some I don't go to. But that's how I find them. It's that I just don't have a compendium of, I don't have a collection or a book I could recommend. But what I have been doing, and this is something that you might want to try, is if you find a quote and you're searching on the internet, then you can write them in a book. Then that's kind of basically how I'm saving them. I just have a little notebook and I'm starting to write them in there. So saving them. But that's kind of how I wish there was a really nice source for that, but there really isn't one. Goodreads is great, but they're just not easy to access anymore. So here's the one that we did last 2 weeks ago. This is with a mother sheet. I made a little mother sheet, and I'm going to show you a really cool idea that I just came up with this morning. Because I love these lives because they give me incentive to come up with fun things that you haven't seen before. So I'm hoping that this will be exciting. But so series, and you can create layers. Like this is a series from one sheet of the watercolor paper. And then I have this one I was started last week or 2 weeks ago, if you remember, the pink one. And then I'm starting to work on finishing them up. So this one I thought I just used a focal point like one of these little fussy cut leaves and put it on there, and I think it's done. And I edged it with the black stamp pad. And then this one I did this morning, I folded a little tiny dress out of 3-inch paper. And I thought that was really cute. So there's just so many ways, and these are not ready to go yet, but they could just be by themselves. This one I like just the composition without having to do anything more. And this one I don't know, I might be doing some more things, but really the series, that's really how I love doing these. These are a bunch of these are actually done with this series here. This is a series I did with snippet rolls. And if you all know what snippet rolls are, if you remember, I don't know when it was, well, maybe a couple years, maybe a couple years ago, we did snippet rolls with pure origami paper. Remember that? I don't know if you remember it, but we did. And I've got this to make, I can do, I'm going to show you how easy it is anyway, to do a artist trading card with these. Okay, so that's our pure origami paper. So that's been jelly printed and then stitched and all that, and it's ready to do some fun things, and that's what these are. And then these are just kind of mixed. These are pure paper. It's just watercolor with a little washi paper and a heart on top. And this is a snippet roll. So I'm going to kind of get started on just doing a mother sheet first, or a master sheet, however we want to call it. Plus, I want to show you, if you have one that you just didn't really like that much, like this one, I was kind of like, it's not done yet, but I'm going to do some more to it today. And this is one that I did. I had done I think I had done a rainbow, and then I cut it into quarters. And just just some ideas. So you can always just kind of stage your cards, partially finished, and ready to go. But let me show you a really quick, fun, just something simple. If you want to just do watercolor, and you're just watercoloring. And I got our Niji watercolors, and I thought I don't use these enough. The artist set, which I think is really cool. And I'm going to grab a little water. And if you want to paint along with me, please paint along. You have just a little artist trading card size, or if you just want to do do it on a bigger sheet, or if you just take a scrap of paper. So I'm going to just put a little piece of something here, so I'm not going to mess up my table, because I always like to go off the card. But I'm going to do so what size is the paper? So the paper I have is this is 5x7 card. It's a 5x7, if that's what Vivian is asking. So 5x7 that gets cut down into quarters, and you have 4 cards to play with. If you want to do it like this, you can even do it like a little gang like this. Sometimes I do that because, you loosen up that way. If you want to just get loose, this is a great way to do it. You can do it with the card already cut, or you can do it on a whole piece and then just kind of go, do your thing. So I'm going to move these out of the way, start getting messy then. I start getting messy. But really simple. I'm going to take it like this, one at a time for now. But I'm going to do this little silver lining one because I really like that. I'm going to show you how you could just do a simple silver lining type of card. And I'm just going to take some watercolor, taking my fusion brush number 4. That's the biggest one, I think, right? No, or is there 5? I don't remember. Now, I'm just going to do something simple, right? Just kind of like I'm just going to kind of make a cloud shape, and then I'm going to go all the way around. I'm just going to go off the edge. And this is just super easy and fun. Very fun, really loose, be loose. And I'm kind of making a little, just very elementary shape, like a wonky shape in the center. And then I have the blue going all the way to the edge like that. And then I can add a little, let's see, the cerulean blue, kind of maybe drop that in here and there, and let that dry. And then I can come back to it with some metallic, which I don't have on my table, or if I want to just do the whole thing, like just cover the whole thing. And then what I could do, I think this will look better anyway, is I'm going to take a piece of tissue, and I'm going to blot where I want that towel to be, or towel, where I want where I want that cloud to be. Now that's better. I think that looks better than the silver lining, the other one. So Pat's here. Hi, Pat. So there it is. So there's a cloud. Boom. Artist trading card just about done. All I need to do is maybe just put a little saying in there. Now, artist trading cards could be either, they can be landscape or portrait. I tend to go for the portrait a lot. I don't know why, but this is going to be a landscape, obviously, because I'm just made a little cute little cloud card. I could do a series of cards like that. Or another thing I like to do is just making circles, wonky concentric circles, and I prefer to do it on a series larger thing, but I'm just going to do it like this, like just kind of taking my brush, and then I'm going to just go and make another thing, and I'm going to just kind of bring those, like kind of go around, And it doesn't matter if it touches or not, but just something. And then I have a little place to put the whatever I'm going to put in there, if it's going to be a focal point or a quote. But it's just simple, 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 like shapes. So you don't have to be perfect. In fact, the more loose you are, the better, I think. It's just much more fun. And this is a way you can even swatch your watercolors. You can just play. There's really no rule in this. And I haven't used this watercolor set in a while, and I really forgot how cool it is. I'm gonna have to bring it out more often. So I've just made a little fun little artist trading card, right? And I can leave that like this, or I can actually turn this around. And if I want to, I can put a heart in there. In fact, I'm going to do that. I'm going to take a little, just having a little, I just kind of have fun with watercolors because they're so spontaneous and they don't take a lot of cleanup, easy to go. So there's just some watercolor ideas, and then set your cards aside and let them dry. All right, so next, I wanted to show you the kind of the mother sheet thing that I'm talking about. I'll just kind of clean that up, get that out of the way. And I'm going to show you a really fun technique that I just thought of today and might have been done before. But if you remember a couple weeks ago, I think I might have done this in front of you. It was just a washi paper collage, which is fun to do. And the way you do that is you just take your paper, your sheet. I'm just going to do it. I'll do this one because it's really fun. I'll do the other one that's really cool. I think it's fun. All right, I'm going to take some papers and I'm going to do, these are like washi papers that I have decorated. And I kind of like to bunch them up into themes or something that works, you know? So I've got these are some washi papers, some tissue, some stuff I did in fodder school, I think. This is just a book page that I did the watercolors and the artist crayons. If you remember, I did those a few weeks ago, maybe a few sessions ago. I just kind of put them in a bunch that I like. And then really all I have to do is just start collaging. And I would use Nori Paste today, but just for speed and for less wrinkling, I'm going to use a glue stick. Now, there's these two glue sticks. I found this new, it's called Gloo, Gloo, and it's a glue stick that has a square, it's square. And I like it because it's pretty, it doesn't have a lot of gunky. It's not gunky. It's very nice. The Uhu or Uhu is a good one too. So I just like these because they're quick. I also like, and I think I've showed you all this before, the Art Glitter Designer Dries Clear. I love this glue. I love the little tip. I know I've showed you. I'm in love with it. I have to share with you about that. Nori Paste is wonderful, but I use it for certain things. I don't use it really as much as for this. But anyway, wanted to give you options. So this one with this is just a simple, straightforward, you just take a ruler and you just tear, right? You just find, it's nothing, let's see, I've got these. I'm gonna just tear pieces. Whoops, it's gonna get chaotic, I promise, it's gonna get chaotic. I'm just gonna tear off I'm not doing a loose torn edge, I'm actually doing a straight torn edge instead of a loose one. And I'm going to do a loose one on the next one. And this is some tissue paper or some this could be some wet strength tissue. I don't know. It has paint on both sides. You know, I just sort of threw all this together and I don't know what I have. This is also I believe this is Usugami that I had painted. And I love this stuff. This is the old book page that has some stuff on it. So I'll go ahead and tear some of that. And then what I'm going to do, so I've got straight edges. They're a little bit easier to deal with than the other one I'm going to show you. So I'm just going to do this. I love this. This is actually, someone sent me this in some happy mail and I fell in love. And it was just some, painted paper and I love this little piece. So I thought it would be nice to put that in a collage or in my little artist trading card. And then I've got some straight pieces here of some washi paper that I had gel printed. This is the 6JM. It's pretty thin. So I'm just going to use all these. And so instead of, I'm not even planning, I'm just going to do this because it's fun just to be spontaneous. I love spontaneity on this. So I could do the glue on the card or I could go on the paper. So I don't know. What do I do? I'm going to go ahead and just do a little glue on this paper. I know I showed some of you this last week, but not all of you were here. So, or 2 weeks ago. I'm just going to do this simple, kind of a straight. I'm just going to stick it on to the card, and it doesn't matter that it's over, that it's actually going over the edge. I prefer it to go over at the edge, actually. And I'm going to take a little folding tool, and I'm just going to burnish it down like this. And it's going to stick to my paper, but I'm not concerned because that paper is going to be, it's going to be trimmed off. So no worries. So I've got that, and now I've got the straight edge. I'm going to just put here because it looks good. I just might glue on the paper. Just do it straight on. You could use matte medium also if you wanted to. But you know, if you like to brush on matte medium, that's fine. I'm just gonna do it like this, maybe a little overlapping would be fine. Here's so someone here named Melinda. Melinda, your name is on there. Melanie, Melinda, Maxine, if there's any, got all these wonderful names here. And I just love doing that sometimes, just grabbing a name, a thing out of a baby named dictionary, and it's just so cool. So here's a neat piece. I love this. This is 6 jam that I used. If you remember, I did some stenciling, rubbing. This is a rubbing where I rubbed the artist crayons over, and I just think that's gorgeous. I'll do that. I'm gonna put that on in a minute. It's not quite ready for, I'm not ready to put that on the underlayer. I'm gonna put this one over here, maybe this way. Yep. I'm gonna maybe overlap it a little bit. And if I get a little glue on the edges or on the outer parts, it's okay. I'm just gonna put it like this. That's pretty. I want to cover the whole paper. I'm just trying to do it quick and fast. This one looks great, but I'm gonna just use this little ruler here, and I'm gonna put it right there. So covering it quickly, that's the whole basic thing. I don't want to spend a lot of time going, oh, you know, getting, what do you call it, stuck on the small details. Right now, it's just go quickly and fast. And also, one thing I need to mention is when you're doing this, like right now, I notice everything's the same value. That's almost like too much the same, which is okay. I'll explain in a second what I'm going to do. Here, I'll put this one. I'm going to change up the value. I'm going to get it a little more high contrast in a moment here. So I'm going to put a little glue here, and I'm just going to line up this right here like that. Now I've covered the whole thing, but the thing that's not happening is I don't see a lot of contrast. So now I'm going to just add contrast. And I'm just going to do it by putting it on. Finding light, basically your dark values, your medium, and your light. I'm just going to stick it right on top. And it has a little translucency, so it kind of you can see what's underneath. All right, looking good so far. Now I'm just for design purposes, I'm going to take my scissors and start trimming the edges because it's starting to get away from me what I'm doing. So I'm just trimming the edges a little bit, always to the edge of the card. And please ask questions if you have any. I know I'm just I know I'm going to just get into this zone here. So yeah, please ask questions, or if I'm going too fast, let me know. But I'm really just trying to get this covered quickly. And you'll see once I cut this edge off, I'm going to kind of see what's happening. I like it just like that. It's pretty cool. But I've got these little pieces that I could use for something else. I don't want to throw them away. I'm going to take this is some Usugami that I've painted. I'm just going to put a little over that. Now, this is where I like using matte medium. So let me show you. If you've got the matte medium, either whatever brand, it's really good stuff. To do
You know, someone
this.
just asked, do you go in different directions with the paper? I think Meaning,
Yeah,
are
like
you
in
like,
this one, I'm doing more like crisscross. I'm doing like I'm not doing it in all angles. It's not like this way. I'm doing either horizontal or vertical on this one. And then you're going to see another one where I'm going to go crazy with something else. But this is just one way to get like very simple shapes. And I'm just going to put a little this over it. I don't know which side's which, but I'm going to just do it. Yeah, there it goes. And then I'm just going to put that matte medium down on top. And you can see with what happens, it starts to disappear. And it looks just lovely. You can see what's underneath, but then that white pops through. And that was just painted Usugami. If, and then I'm just doing that, getting it on underneath. I don't think, there we go. And just kind of getting it laid down so that just all the little edges are going to be on there. I love that. And then I see another little place I could do that. Maybe, oh, where? Right up here. Just kind of up there, right there. Now this is all going to get trimmed and then I'll let that dry. And then what I'll do is I'll come back to it and then I'll cut it up. So I've got a little loose edge one. I've got some names. I think that one's just fine. I think maybe,
you
I
know what,
continue.
Karen, also, sorry to interrupt. Pamela
No
was
problem.
asking what's the glue in the bottle you use, and I think she means the matte medium. Is there a way you could just like flash the label?
Yeah, let me do it. Let me get you that real quick.
Sorry.
Oh, no problem. Okay, fluid matte medium,
Thank you.
multi-purpose low gloss fluid acrylic. Now, I usually like to shake it, not shake it, but move like kind of agitate it because I think some of the particles kind of settle. Some of the whatever makes it matte settles down below. So if you have one of these in other brands, there's other brands, but I happen to be a fan of Golden, so and they were generous enough to give me that at NAMTA. Remember when we were at NAMTA, I was collecting art supplies, and,
Yeah.
and I had to.
Yeah, I'm also gonna ask out Kimberly's question. She was saying, are you going to show how you made the snippet roll, which I don't think we have time for
No.
today. But then she was saying, do you just cut off small pieces when you want to use it?
Right, I'm going to show you how I use a snippet roll. There's a lot of tutorials. So here it is, I'll let that dry. I think that looks great. I could imagine when I cut it up into quarters, it's going to be fun and it's going to be a great base for an artist trading card series. But the snippet rolls, there's a lot of tutorials on YouTube. People do them with fabric, they do them with paper. And I believe that Wendy Willow Wanders, she has a snippet roll course that's really fabulous. I haven't taken it, but I think it's fabulous. And I'm sure because everything she does is fabulous. But snippet rolls are just basically little bits of paper that you basically collage on a strip of paper. So you can cut a strip of paper and glue little bits and pieces. And I'll show you my finished ones so you can see kind of how I do that. But I'm going to set that aside. And then what will look great is, let's say if I keep the background simple enough like this, then when when it's dry, I come back with something that will kind of go with it, like one of these, and I find a place for it when I do my cards. But I'll show you that in a minute. Hopefully, maybe this will dry in time. I'm just going to set that aside and hopefully it'll dry so that you can see the process. But I'm going to save my little tiny bits here, move them out of the way. Now I'm going to show you my little cool thing. This was, I did this morning. It's kind of there's a Japanese pottery repair process that is gorgeous. I think it's called kintsugi or kintsugi. I don't know how you really say it because I hope I'm saying it right. Maybe,
I think it's kintsugi, hard G. And then, sorry, real quick, Kathy
yeah.
was asked, oh, a few questions actually. Was that leaf a stamp or did you do it freehand?
That's a freehand. Okay, so let me explain that too. So I make leaves on the watercolor paper. I just make the leaves and then I doodle on them. I usually doodle on them before or, before I cut them out, or sometimes I just have them plain and then I doodle on them later if I think it needs it. So these are basically little doodled leaves, and I have doodled hearts, I have doodled shapes, and circles. I kind of keep them in a file where I just take them out, and I have these because I love them on artist trading cards. But if you can see, I've got like this is a doodled watercolor. There's a doodled, there's a heart. So doing a session, and this is all of this all kind of comes together, all the chaoticness or chaos of creating. You can make swatches, you can make leaves, and then you use them later on. Like my full sheets of swatches, I have full sheets, and I'll just do a little quick thing like this, cut them out and use them later. So that's what those are.
You know,
And
I will
sometimes
jump
in
in
this
with
one I
one more
painted.
question
Mhm.
before you go into the kintsugi like style thing. Kim was asking, what is the medium that is translucent that has the white lines drawn on it, the usugami? You mentioned it a couple times, but could you just like talk about that a little bit more? Because I think a lot of people don't know what that is.
So this paper here, Usugami, is we discovered this. Oh man, I don't know when it was, but it was the wrapping of our one of our rolls. And I found that it was a wonderful wet strength tissue that surpassed any of the wet strength tissues I have tried. And so this is wonderful. It can actually be painted on. You can watercolor on it. You can draw on it. And when you draw on it, it doesn't bleed like you can stamp on it. This is a piece I just was working on this morning. And when you want to write on it, let me just show you. So I stamped on these little pieces, and I'm going to use them for my collage. And if you want to, let's say, write, I'm going to show you some of this is the Detail Master Mark pens. It's some of this brand new set. And this is a Yasutomo product that I think is so wonderful because you've got a little tiny 0.01, 0.3, 0.5, 0.7, and a 1. So you've got all these different widths that you can go to, but I'm going to use the 1 just to show you so you can see how how nice this is. So a lot of times if I wanted to write the words, if you want to write something, but you don't want to write directly on your card because you're a little nervous about it, you just want to write something. So I'm going to write, well, I like the word love. So I'm going to go ahead and write the word love. Um, you can see I'm actually able to write and it doesn't bleed. It looks gorgeous, right? I mean, it looks great, but it does go through. You can also write, you can just do little doodles if you want. And these are ones you can use later. You can actually watercolor on this if you want. But I love this. This is the Usugami, and then you can take it and I'll show you, I'll cut out a piece and put it on my card, which I kind of did on one of these, on one of my samples. Oh, there it is. I'll grab it. So you can see this is a piece of Usugami that was put on top, and you don't see the paper. It pretty much disappears. So that makes it look like I stamped directly on it, but I didn't. Here's another one piece done by cutting it out and sticking it on with medium. So that's why I love this stuff. It's just a really beautiful product. So let me show you what I mean. I'll just do a quick little thing. Let's see. I'll just cut out a piece, and there it is. And I don't have to cut perfectly, it can be close enough. And if I want to put it on one of my cards, I have to find one that's still in progress. Maybe one of these, one of this one here, maybe that one. That's kind of asking for that, I think. That's what I do is I look at cards after a while and I turn them around and I think, what could that be? Let's see what we can do to take that. Where do I want that? Here? Do I want it over here? There's just so many ways but I see where it needs to go right there. So it can be seen. I like that spot. So what I usually do is I just take my gel medium. I'm just gonna grab, I'm gonna dry this gel medium. Let me grab a paper towel real quick so I don't have water in my gel medium. I'm just gonna wipe that as dry as I can. And I'm going to take a little of this matte medium. The reason I use matte medium is it just doesn't leave a shine, and I love that. It just looks like it's naturally supposed to be there. So I'm going to put the little bit right there, and then I'm just going to pick it up with my brush. You can see what I just did, because if I picked it up with my hands, I don't know, it'd probably never come off. And then I can position it right like so. And whoop, there we go. Just position it. And once you positioned it, you like it where it is, then you just cover it, paint right over it, and now it's totally disappeared into the paper. So that is one of the reasons I fell in love with the Usugami. So I think that's just like a game changer because I like words and trying to do something, place it on. I just sometimes I've ruined cards, ruined my artwork because I've not placed it right if I try to stamp it or just trying to handwrite it. So there, I see I got one finished. All right, so I hope that explains that for you. Now, let me explain my little technique, kintsugi, if that's right. What I used, or what I'm going to do is I've got all these, as you know, I've designed all these papers for Yasutomo, right? They're just fun little collage papers. Um, I grabbed some. I just grabbed a few from my collection, but I want to show you how many of these we've got. We've got 6 different SKUs, and I know Phoebe has a list of that. But those are really great for quick collages. If you don't have any decorative paper that you've already decorated, you can really do this quickly. Now, let me show you what I did. I took some black gesso. Now, I'm going to show you what I used. I basically put gesso. I'm going to show you that black gesso right now. You can see my messy black gesso right there. It's I am sure other brands. Ooh, it needs to be. I didn't even close it right. Anyway, black gesso, opaque acrylic primer. That's what I used. But if you wanted to just use a matte acrylic paint, matte acrylic, you can use it. Just something kind of flat. Like I think Blick makes a flat acrylic. But I just primed it with that. And then I'm going to show you what I did. So I've got these little papers, and this is fun. It's almost like a crazy quilt thing. I've got my glue stick, so I need that, and I've got some papers here. These are some of the origami papers. Now it's going to get chaotic, but what I want to do is just tear. And when you're tearing this paper, if you don't want the white edges to show, and I don't, I am going to just tear kind of loosey-goosey little shapes. And I want the edge to be paper. I don't want it to have the white piece. Like, so this side, you can see there's white. I don't want that. I want this edge, this nice edge. So I'm just going to start tearing the bits and pieces of this, and I'm going to tear at least 3 of this color, okay? And I'm going to tear at least 3 of this one, and I'm going to just kind of randomly do it. I'm not trying to design anything yet. Okay, at least 3 pieces of that, and then I'm going to tear some of this. Try to keep them sort of smallish, maybe some longer pieces. But you can see, oops, when you're doing it, I'm just trying to get the white slip part not to show. So see how here I've got a little piece here. I'm just gonna there. I don't want to be too picky about it. I guess I shouldn't be that. I can just tear and not worry about it. But that's how you do it. You just tear bits off, at least 3 pieces, right? I'll get another one, and then I'm going to tear a little bit of this piece. I think that's pretty.
Well, hey Karen, I'm gonna just read it out, but another Karen asked, how do you do the paper that is on your collage that has the white circles and dots? And I'm not sure if that means the Usugami, like how you did the Usugami and how you drew on that, or the blue
Are you talking
papers.
about this
Maybe.
piece?
Oh,
Or
you
was
know,
it this piece?
I think she means this one that you're holding now. Um, Maybe you could let us know in the chat, in the comments, if that's the right one that you were wondering about, and if you were asking how she drew those white doodles, or if you meant how she did the collage papers in the background. I'm not quite sure.
If it's this, I'm going to just explain. It's just basically I took a liner, like oh boy, one of those paint. I filled a paint, white acrylic paint in a little fine line applicator, and I just drew. I doodled. That's what that is on top of the usagami. So and then sometimes I just use, stamp things if that's what.
Oh, okay. And you know what? That was the piece that she was asking about, but she meant the blue paper in the background, which I think is a number of things. I think
Was it that?
No, the same piece with the Usugami layered on it, but I think she's asking, she said the one she's holding and background. So I think she's asking how you did those blue collage elements in the background.
These, like, this is gel printed. This is like an artist crayon that I just scribbled and then I did watercolor over. This is, I laid a stencil down underneath some washi paper and then rubbed with crayon to get that color, get that texture. And I think I pretty much covered it. This is just a book, old book with some watercolors. Yep, and these are just acrylics that I scraped. So I'm
Yeah, thank
hoping,
you. I'm pretty sure, yeah, that covers it. And then
cool.
going back to the white doodles, because I think we have a few more people. They were asking, is it Posca paint or the Molotow pen? But I think you just said you used like a fine line tip
The
applicator. What was
Molotow marker is great, except it's a little, it on the Usugami, like if, let's say, here I've got a Molotow, you know how I love my Molotow. So if I want to do it with the Molotow, you just have to make sure that your pen is like, here I go, I'll just do a little doodle. But you go slowly and you won't see this right now because it's it's white on white, but here we go. So you can see the dark, you can kind of see that it shows up now. So you can do it that way. Just do it with the pen, go slowly and let that paint flow and then let it dry completely before you take it off and that will disappear. The edges will disappear and that white will show. So you can use that or you can use an acrylic paint that you've put either with a brush, you can paint with a brush, a fine line brush, or you can fill a fine line applicator device, like those kind that you do. Oh, I don't even know where it is. Let me show you. Oh, I've got one here. This is not, it's filled with, this is filled with masking fluid, but if I can even open it. There it is. I'm not gonna, there we go. See, it has a fine needle tip, something like that. You can find them on the internet. This is, you can fill that with paint and then do the same thing. So I hope that helps. Okay, so let me go. Okay, this is the fun part. I just love this. So I'm going to take some more, just tearing a little few more pieces here, and then I can tear more off as I go. But I want to make sure I cover the whole thing. And I don't know if I'll have time to cover the whole thing with you here. Maybe. Huh, you've got a few minutes. All right. So I'm going to start, and I'm just going to go. I'm not really going to design anything in specific. I'm just going to put this down, my first piece. I'm going to put it right on the edge because I've got these non-torn edges. So I'm going to just put it right here on the edge of my black primed card. And now I'm going to find pieces. It's kind of like putting together a puzzle. I'm going to find pieces of the paper and I'm going to line them up kind of close. Like, see how I have the edge? I'm going to line them up so that I get that border, that black edge, that rough black edge. I'm just going to kind of do this. I'm going to just find that edge. Yep, I love that. And I'm just going to do the same way. I'm going to not worry about the edges because it's going to all disappear. And then I'm just going to go through my papers and just kind of put them down. And then what I could do is, as I put this together, I might have to tear smaller pieces to kind of fit in the spaces that maybe are big. Now here, I'll just do this one. And that's a little on the bigger side, but I'm hoping for filling in smaller cracks. So here, I need a contrasting piece and we have something different. I'm going to grab this piece here and I'm going to just maybe fill in, can't think too much, but I am kind of thinking a lot. So I'm going to just take that and maybe go in here and just see how I'm just going to take only maybe that much. And I've got the little gaps showing, and that's good. That's what I want. I want the black edges to kind of show right now. And I want these little fun edges. And small is good. Little small bits of pieces here. I'm going to take this one and the odd shapes, look for odd places to place your little bits. And this is just like putting together a mosaic, or like if you had broken a vase, that's kind of like the inspiration anyway. You want to put back together, right? So, this took me a little longer than 15 minutes on my first one, but I do want to show you how cool it looks when you're when in the gaps could be kind of wide. They don't have to be that tight. I mean, I know I'm getting kind of anal here, but that's okay. I want to show you how cool it's going to look with those little bits. I might even go a little wider and bigger than I had intended because I think I do want you to see how beautiful when you add the interference or the gold paint, how it's going to look, remind you of that Japanese technique where the pottery, you mend the pottery. I'm just gonna keep my colors kind of on the same theme. And here I got this piece. Maybe I'll put, oh, that looks good. Now I'm gonna have to trim. Just gonna do it with my fingers, a very rough, torn edge. There, like that. Oh yeah. See how it starts to come together? Little collage. But this is a very different kind of collage technique that I've ever seen on paper with paper. Here we go. And I might have a little bit I might want to put in there because why not? Right? Just a little tiny bit. And I can even take maybe just a little bit here. No, that's going to be real small. And so that's how you can get really little bits and pieces in if you want to fill in those cracks, like as if you're putting together a vase or a broken, something that broke and you want to fix it. Just kind of go through the whole piece but I'm going to show you this much. I'll do half of it so you can at least see it. I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to put that. Oh yeah, that looks good right there. Let's see, maybe like that. Ooh, it needs to be here. So you don't want any straight edges. So I'm going to just get rid of those and maybe right there. That looks good. I found this so much fun. It's just sort of an accident, kind of one of those little happy accidents, as Bob Ross used to say. Let's see, like just kind of lining up those edges and then finding other little bits that I could kind of put in there, like maybe here, just tear a little bit. And that's all I'm going to show you on that, but I want to cover the whole thing. I just won't do it right now. I just want to show you at least the technique. I'll just at least do half of it. There we go. So I'm just going to fill that right there. Yeah, and then just kind of get it on there. And so that's about half the card. It didn't take that long. Now I'm going to take this and trim it off so it will show the beauty, the edges. It looks so much better when you get those edges off. And then I can finish the other half later. But I want to show you the gold, what we can do. So pretend I covered the whole thing, okay? So I've only got half of it. So here's what the beauty of the fun part. So you take your a brush, if you have a kind of a fine brush, it doesn't have to be that fine, but I'm going to use some golden interference gold. Now you can use just plain gold paint. If you have some gold, ooh, that's just dribbling right out. And it's an old bottle too. I've had that forever. I'm going to thin it just a little. And I've got my fusion brush number 3. And I'm just going to put it, and I'm going to take the areas where there's black, and I'm going to just go, not fill it all the way. I'm going to kind of fill the cracks in. It's almost like a doodling, very meditative technique, actually. Like I found it very soothing just to go and fill the cracks in with this gold interference color. And the interference color, in case you don't know, is basically, there's no color in it. You can see in my little space here, there's no color. It's just mica that has reflective qualities, and it really shows up on black or in dark colors. So that's what makes this really so gorgeous. I'm just taking my brush and I'm just filling in only the cracks and not really trying to, not to go all the way to the edge of the paper, leaving some of that black showing. And that's kind of like a really fun, mindful doodling technique or exercise. But you get this really beautiful gold or this metallic look. And when I cut it up into artist trading cards, it's going to be gorgeous, which I plan to do. I'm going to show you on the other one how it's going to look. So you can see just covering, just a little bit. You can even fill it in with more gold if you have a big gap. It looks like a little road map or something. It just looks so beautiful. And it just enhances this very, very unusual. And you can see how it's coming together. So I think this is just a fun little technique that's sort of, it's Japanese inspired, and but it's on paper instead of, whoops, instead of doing it with the pottery. You can do it with shattered paper. Maybe we can call this shattered collage or something. The shattered collage. And once you've done that, and you've got all the little spaces kind of filled, then I would, at this point, cut out the quarter. I'll cut this in quarters, but since I only have a half, I'll just cut 2 pieces. Here, so see how that looks? And here's the finished piece. Where is that? Buried. Oh, there it is. So there's the piece that I did earlier. On same paper, same technique. And this is with blue interference paint. So the blue interference blue. Now let me cut this up and show you how cool this is. So what you want to do is you've got a 5x7. I'm going to turn it over in case I don't want to do like accidentally. Whoops, we'll really have to be careful not to get paint on my, there I go. All right, so it's going to be 3.5 inches where I'm going to cut. One side is going to be 3.5. Okay. And then I'm going to cut that. It's going to be a surprise, 2.5. So 3.5 by 2.5. That is going to be your artist trading card size. 3.5 by 2.5. And now I've got 4 artists just about finished. Now wait till we see them, get to unveil them. It's the fun part. Ooh, look at that. I just love that. So I've got this gorgeous card. I'm going to move that out of the way so it doesn't look so chaotic. There's one. This is how I just kind of look at them and I arrange them and think, what would be a good way? I think these are gorgeous, just like that. But if I wanted to add, let's say, add something, like I could add a focal point, I could come in here and just kind of look around and find things that go with it, like this one looks like that might go with that. This is kind of how this is my process. If I wanted to do a leaf that, maybe ones that kind of work together, I could doodle on them or I could leave them plain. That one's kind of cool. And then I would just glue those on with my white glue. That one's pretty. Might be too big. But that's sort of the process on those. Let's see. This one might look pretty. And so then I just could add that, and then I trim this little edge off. Now so that's kind of that's that technique. So I've got a beautiful background, and then I can just add a little focal point, or I could leave it alone. But I think adding a focal point, adding one more layer would make it more interesting. And I could maybe possibly add a word if I wanted to. But let me show you the next thing. So you've got in our group that we've formed for the artist trading card group for Yasutomo, we have uploaded a file. It's ATC card backs. It's a PDF that you can print out. And I printed this on a piece of sticker paper. So this is really cool because you can just take the sticker paper. It's already adhesive. I don't have to do anything else. It's a piece of sticker paper. But if you don't have sticker paper, by all means, just use a glue stick and you can attach it to the back of your card. So basically, you make them blank. And like what I usually do is if, let's say I'm doing a gang of artist trading cards and I'm not sure who I'm going to swap with or what, I leave them blank. I leave them blank until I'm ready. So like this one is finished. These are not yet, but so this one I like by itself. So once I know I'm finished, I'm going to go ahead and put that on. And then when it's time to swap, I can put my name, the title, whatever, it's all ready to go. And I just line it up on the edge and stick it on. Now, I didn't line it up perfectly, and I see there might be a little edge. This happens all the time. I just trim off that little excess that's up there so I don't interfere with the art trading card. And another thing I like to do with these, especially this one is I'm going to take a little a black stamp pad, and I'm going to take a little tiny sponge, and I'm just going to barely touch that just to give it like an edge. I can be more dramatic if I want, but it just kind of helps to finish it. To me, it kind of frames it. Now, some people like to round out their artist trading cards. I don't, because I don't round out my paintings. I don't put a round corner on it, my artwork. So I don't really like to do it, but other people do, and they're nice. It's nice. So, but I think it looks better. My personal opinion, my un my just a personal opinion. I like them just rectangular without any curved edges. But it's up to everyone. Everyone has they're just whatever they like doing, because this is all whatever makes you happy. Now that one's finished. Now let me just show you a quick, because I talked about this real quick, is if I wanted to do this, so I'm going to grab this card. Is not my favorite card. I didn't like the heart right after I did it. I realized, oh, but I have this really nice background. So what I can do is with my snippet roll that I made many while ago, I'm gonna cut. Oh, there's some pink. I'm gonna just trim off. See, look at that. It looks like it was meant to be, right? Covered up the boo-boo. And I'm just gonna trim. I'm just gonna take this. I'm gonna trim off a little bit here. Just gonna trim off this for now. There we go. Move that out of the way. I love that. So now I'm going to just take some white. This is going to take a little more glue because it just needs a little more substantial glue because it's a little thicker. It's a lot of layers of paper and a strip of paper that I used underneath. So I'm really gonna kind of slather that glue on. And I'm gonna cover up my little card. So there was no I didn't waste anything, right? I still have, I'm just gonna stick it right on there. Like that. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then, whoops, it's not going to stick. It's going to take a while. So that needs a little time. But what I want to do is trim those edges, because you want your artist trading card not to be any bigger than 2.5 by 3.5. That's really, really the only rules. Everything else is like kind of all over the place, right? So it's going to take this one a while to, there we go. So I'm going to just cut that off. And I might have to flatten this under something heavy because it wants to curve like the snippet roll curved. Oops, I shifted. Shift happens. I just shifted it. But that actually gives me an opportunity. Here I was like, oh no, it's centered. It's not centered anymore. But that is actually good news, because now I see an opportunity. This happens all the time where you have a plan to do something, and then you just go something with something else. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to cut this out. And there we go. That needs to go right in here. Okay, so I'm going to put that down there. Look how pretty that looks right there, like it was meant to be. And then what I might do, now that that's there, I think that's pretty, is I may find a little, because it could use another layer. Why not, right? I think that, to me, that finishes it off. So here's the deal. Now I'm just about done with this one. I'm going to take a little matte medium, just a tiny bit. Oh, I'm going to glue this one on. Finishing it up for you, and then we'll if you have any questions, and because I know it's 3 o'clock already. It's funny how fast this goes. I put this on with the white glue just like this. And I'm going to put it right here, and then I'm going to trim off the excess of the stem, anything that's left on there, and then I'm going to just put a little glue. So there it is. And then I'll just trim that off, and then the white or the gel medium for that. So does anybody have any questions? Now, Phoebe, can you talk about the artist trading card swap, unless there's anybody who has any questions?
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on the comments if there are any more questions, but really quickly, we are going to be like facilitating an artist trading card swap. And to do that, we set up a private Facebook group. The link for that group is in the pinned comments, but I'll also put it in a post for this event and then also just another post. I'll try to make it super visible for you guys and also do a follow-up email so that it just hits your inbox if you're subscribed to our newsletter. And so in that group, we invite you all to just post if you are interested in swapping artist trading cards with anyone. You can put pictures of what you're trying to swap or not. I've heard from Karen that she's done it both ways. And then you can connect with other people, let them know if you're interested in doing a swap, and privately message each other to share your mailing information and then go ahead and send each other your artist trading cards. I think it's that simple. Did I miss anything, Karen?
I think you got it perfectly. So here's one. I love this one, and it was just on the fly with a little thing. Yeah, just simple, simple. So yeah, you notice I'm going to have a lot of cards to swap. So I'll be listing. I won't list the cards necessarily, the specific cards I'm going to swap, because I'll just list a number. Truthfully, I don't want, I think if we show the cards, because I've seen some groups do this where they show the cards, they number them, and then people actually request the search specific card. I don't want to do that. I like surprises. I'd rather have you have a surprise, and I'd rather I be surprised when I see it. I just think that trying to be specific is probably, I don't know. I wouldn't do that, but it's up to you because it's your swap and you can do it any way you want. If you want to list your cards and somebody could pick the specific card, great. But I'm going to just say I've got 10 cards or I've got 20 cards. And then the way I'm going to do it is then I'll say private message me if you want to be swap with me. And then once I get the cap, once I have the total people, I'll say it's closed. I'll just put closed on the post. So that's something we could talk about, but basically, or I'll just remove, I don't know if I can remove my post, but I'll just put closed if I already have enough people that I'm going to be trading with. But then we don't put our addresses in the public. We give them to each person that we're trading with, and keeps it a little more safe for us. And it is a private group, so we're going to be, we'll be practicing safety, internet safety stuff. So the glue that I use to
Absolutely.
glue this leaf down is the Art Glitter Designer Dries Clear. Any white glue will do, but this is my favorite. And there it is. And this one, actually, you can get the set on Amazon. It's like a little set that it comes with the little needle tip, this tiny little applicator tip, and it's like a stainless, it looks like a stainless steel applicator tip, and it comes with a needle, and it comes with this, and it's fabulous. So it's normally like this, but because uh-oh. There it is. I've had this for years. You can see mine's beat up and it's still, I just refill the same bottle and I have no problems. And actually, the lady who developed this lives about a mile from me, and her company is right here where I live in Cottonwood, Arizona. So if you ever come to Cottonwood, you can go to the Art Glitter Institute and you'll be guaranteed to have glitter all over yourself by the time you leave. But it's a really fun place. It's really fun if you like glitter. So,
Can I also ask you, Claudia was asking about the matte medium again. Could
yeah.
you talk about that?
So fluid matte medium is, you can get it, Liquitex sells it. It's just an acrylic medium that has low gloss or no gloss. It's fabulous for mixed media, for collage. It's sort of a low tack because it's thin. So it's like liquidy, that's not really thick like some of the mediums you can get, like a gel medium that's going to be a little thicker. This is a thin that you can brush on, so it levels nicely so you don't see the brush strokes, and you can see it totally disappeared, made that Usugami disappear. Um, Totally, completely gone. I don't see the edges at all on that. And, mixed media art is, you have to have all these different adhesives. Like I talked about the Nori paste. I use it, but I'll tell you what I use it on mostly. Yeah, even I know I love this stuff, but you know what I use it on? I use it on, like, if I'm doing a collage on on a glass candle surface, like on something hard substrate, and using delicate washi papers or tissues, this is fabulous because it's just fabulous. You have repositioning time. It's fabulous for that. So harder substrates, that's what I use this for. and more absorbent like rice papers, washi paper, but not like thick papers because it's just a little, it's a low tack until it dries. And it is archival, repositionable, and reversible. So that's what I love about that. Now, this is a kind of a glue as well, but it's really meant to do like layering. So I could put a layer of matte medium over this, and then I could put some more paint over it if I want, or paper collage over it. So that's what that's for. And of course, you have your glue sticks and other glues, and this for you need a little more tack. Like these are pieces of the watercolor paper that I like to use, put on the back because it really sticks fast and it sticks down quick and it's very strong.
And and compared to Mod Podge, someone was asking about the Mod Podge to the fluid matte medium.
It's similar. I would think, I'm not sure what the formula of Mod Podge is. Mod Podge. I've got some. I like it. There's a different, I think it's just different brands. I do believe, I don't know what the formula is. I know that this is a acrylic and Mod Podge probably is. I haven't looked. I haven't even, wow, it's something to think about. In fact, I've got this some right here. No, this is dimensional magic. Okay, this is a different kind. But Mod Podge has all kinds. They have matte, they have gloss, they have outdoor. So you can use that. It's fine if you use that. It's the same way that I used that. I think Mod Podge would work just fine doing what I just did if you have that.
Fantastic. I think that's all of our questions for today. So I think we're at the end of our live stream, but thank you everybody for joining, and thank you, Karen, because this was the coolest live stream to
Hey,
watch.
and how fun. And I want to mention that Kimberly did say that Mod Podge seems to dry tacky to the touch, and she's right.
Mhm.
It does. Okay,
Mhm.
so that's something. I'm just going to turn my camera to me for a second just to say hi and also say that, yeah, try when you're trying mediums like that. Some like even Yes Paste, if you all know what Yes Paste is. I love Yes Paste, but it dries, it has a tackiness. So the matte medium won't. And the Mod Podge can be dried. It's sort of a nice underlayer. So if you're doing collage with tissue and you want to use the Mod Podge to do your first layers, then use some matte medium on top, and then you're going to get some really, you'll get a nice seal. And that's not even the finished final. If you want to get, Golden has a final finish that's a UV protective finish that's meant to be your very last layer. The mediums are meant to be layered over and over. So you don't have to you don't have to worry about it. But once you put the final layer on, then you're done. So thank you so much, everybody, for showing up. And I hope to see you the next time, whenever that is. We really don't know what's going to happen in the next few weeks. So we're going to just kind of keep you posted as far as when we're going to do another live. It could be 2 weeks from now, and it may be 4 weeks. We just don't know because there's things going on that we need to take care of, and we might not be able to do a live stream for a few weeks. So, but please put your requests in, and we'll definitely make sure we try to inspire you with all the Yasutomo supplies.
Yes, thank you everybody. And then just one last person asked about the link to the swap. I'm gonna post it as many places as I can. So in the description for this event, also just as a post on our regular Facebook page, and also in a follow-up email to this event email. And also I think even though it's private, you should be able to find it if you just search in Facebook for Yasutomo ATC swap. And there's just one question to become a member. I think we set it up like, are you planning to participate in the artist trading card swap? Answer yes, and I'll be approving member requests. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone, for the well wishes. Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, we always
For
wish
the love.
Karen
Thank you
well.
for the love.
She's
Love
doing
right back to
amazing.
you.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Have a great weekend,
All
everybody.
right, everybody. Enjoy your weekend.
Bye.